Thank you very much for tuning in again to Viongo GTV. We are pressured to have another guest on our bench tonight. A very good friend of mine who has come to share with us his experiences, both in UK as a consultant and as a businessman. He's got a lot of experience. I don't want to talk on his behalf, so I'm gonna invite him to introduce himself, let you know what he does, and maybe he can tell us a bit more of maybe some of the things he does maybe that can benefit the diaspora community. Before we dwell into so many things, I want maybe to hear it from him, introduce himself, tell you a bit about himself. My friend,
yes.
Welcome to Viongo GTV.
Asante sana.
Take the floor.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen who are listening today, my name is Njore Kimani. Most people will know me as Josh, and I live in the UK. I've been in the UK now for over 18 years, and I live in Slough now. I'm a consultant in IT, and I also run a business, two businesses. One is a newspaper, and the other one is an online airtime and international calling business.
I think, before we go maybe so much into you've told us you've been in the UK for 18 years.
Yes.
I'm sure people would maybe want to know what brought you to UK and maybe the challenges of settling and your experiences. Maybe someone out there maybe who fancies coming to UK or leaving maybe their mother country to a foreign land, they would want maybe to get it from someone who spent so much time out of his country.
Yes.
So let people maybe hear what brought you, how you've coped maybe with the life in the UK.
Yeah, sure. So it was never really an intentional plan to leave Kenya. I studied in Kenya at Strathmore University. I did my information technology there, and then at one point I got a magazine that I had subscribed to, which was an IT magazine, and they were advertising about a university position in the UK. And when I applied for it, because I had studied for 2 years in Strathmore, I got an opportunity to come to the UK and do a 1-year degree in IT, and I came to Wolverhampton University. Like most people, you come when you hear you're coming to the UK, you come with big dreams, big plans, and I had looked at all manner of jobs that I could do, and I thought that I would make some pop star wages. Until I landed in the UK, and I realized that it wasn't as rosy as I had expected. Yes, the journey began there. It was a relatively difficult journey because the budgeting that I had done, having not known anyone in the UK that I could reach out to and ask what life was like here, the budgeting that I had done was quickly thrown out of the window, and I had to recalculate and try to look for other opportunities. My first job was in sorting parcels during just before the Christmas season, because a lot of parcels are sent out during that time. And I was working from 10 p.m. until 2:30 in the morning, and then the following day I'd sort of wake up, go to uni for a few hours, and then go back to this warehouse to clean it up, ready for work again later on in the evening. So I did some odd jobs. I worked in a brewery at some stage. At one point I was so broke. My first Christmas here, I had no money, no electricity in the house. So it was nice and cold, especially after coming into the UK for the first time. The first winter is normally quite harsh. So yeah, it was rather difficult, and broke and cold, and missing home, missing mum's food, and missing other siblings, brothers and sister. It was rather difficult.
Okay.
But I started looking at other opportunities. The new year came with new hope. One day as I was going to work, I saw an advertisement for a job to join the military, and I looked at that and walked into the careers office, asked them if I could join and whether I could carry on with my studies while I was in the military.
Okay.
And they said yes, that is possible, and so my journey to join the military began. And after being here for just over 6 months, I started a journey of trying to join the military, and I joined the military back in 2003. 2003 is when I started my training.
Okay. Before we go maybe to the joining the military, you said you are doing your degree in Strathmore.
Yes.
You saw an article in a paper and you got the opportunity to come to UK maybe to finish your degree. How was it a scholarship? How easy was it? Because I personally also still get so many people asking about maybe how they can come maybe to further their studies in UK. Someone out there maybe would want to hear, is it that easy, or how do you go about maybe getting the funding if you don't have the funding? So maybe in a small way, just to tell people maybe whether it's easy and whether maybe it depends with the course you are doing, because there are some people out there who think maybe people are refusing maybe to give them the tips of maybe coming to the UK. But now that you're on the bench, someone there is like might be saying, "Yo, you're not asking the hard question. We want to hear this maybe more than most." So
so coming to the UK is not an easy journey. The moment you decide that you want to come to the UK, one of the things that I would say is people need to be careful of registering in the wrong places. So I decided that when I wanted to come to the UK, before I even spoke to my parents and told them that I was intending to travel, I started to seek some information about how could I find out that the university, first of all, is genuine. And I was signposted to the British Council. So I asked at the library in Strathmore, and they told me, if you want to know anything about UK education, then go to the British Council. They had something called UCAS, which is Universities and Colleges Admission Service. And when you go to them and tell them the university that you've seen, then they would tell you, yes, that's a genuine one. And they would even give you statistics about the university in terms of how many foreign students go to those universities. And then what they do is they give you what's called a handbook. And that handbook is very important because that's where you get to apply for suitable universities. You're allowed up to 6 applications.
Okay.
And then either of those universities would allow you either a conditional offer or an unconditional offer. It depends on what your grades are and what you're trying to study. And then from there, it's a journey of now trying to convince parents. I was very young at the time. I was 21 years old. So trying to get my parents to even agree that such a young person would be able to go and survive in the UK was a difficult task. My dad, having worked outside of Kenya for quite a few years, wasn't quite understanding how a 21-year-old who hadn't done a lot of work in Kenya was going to be able to survive in the UK. And truth be told, when I did come to the UK, even I kind of started to see what he was trying to say.
Okay.
But because I was already in the situation that I was in, I just had to get on with it. Going back home was always an option, but I never took that road of going back home because I thought I have to grow out of living under mom's care. So it's not easy.
But it's doable. I think that's what we take from that.
And the school fees is also something that you have to think about. You have to look at ways of how you will be able to fund the education. There are scholarships though out there. I've learned there are bodies out there that give scholarships for well-performing young people. So don't lose heart, but also don't let it be the only dream that you have. Keep at it, and eventually you will get to what you want. Because I have seen people who have tried to go abroad, and when the opportunity fails, then they lose hope. They become miserable because they had pegged their success on a mission abroad, rather than pegging their success on what they have to offer to this world.
Okay. There you get it there, the opportunities are there, But yeah, you have to be determined. You have to even convince yourself and even your community that you're someone who can be relied upon. And then as you hear, when you come here, if you don't have the drive, if you're not focused, it's fairly easy to lose track. So we hear you came to study, and then here you are talking about maybe joining the military.
Yes.
Is that maybe something you realize maybe it's easy maybe to come from like a student visa to military? Let's hear maybe a little bit about that, and maybe someone maybe out there will be like, yeah, it's promising. And
yeah. So initially, I was only going to actually look for a job. It was never because I wanted to change from a student's visa. It was just because I wanted something a bit more stable so that I could finish my studies without having to worry where I was going to sleep and what I was going to eat for dinner. So I went in there and sought some advice, and they told me if you join, then you use your student's visa, and then you come and work full time. If you're going to study, then you're going to either study online through Open University those days, or you could study part time, take some time to go to university, or you could take a career break after a few years. So when I took the job, it wasn't really because I was looking to leave my education. It was just because I was looking for something to do, something that was stable and sustainable. And then I got in. It was again challenging, and of course you can imagine having left home at such a young age, and then a year later telling my mum that actually now I'm going to join the military. You can already guess how that conversation goes, and it doesn't go very well to begin with, and it takes a lot of convincing, both convincing yourself because there's a lot of people saying different things, so you have to convince yourself as well as convince other people that this is the right path to take. So one of the things that was very obvious at that time is because there was all this conflict going around in Iraq, was if you join,
or you'll be sent out to wars.
Absolutely, because as a black person, it was, yes, you join them and you're a black person, and the first thing they do is they take you to the front line. I was lucky that the job that I joined was in administration, so it was more HR administration. I spent more time in the office doing staff and military staff management. So even if I went to the front line, it would not be me sort of dodging the bullets as such, but supporting the infantry soldiers that were on the front line. So, and of course, everyone would say, you join the military, your risk of death is higher. But really, your risk of death is high anyway.
The risk we take.
But you see, that's the kind of mindset that even at 21 years old, I had to adopt. The kind of mindset that actually you could die anywhere. Joining the military is just one of those ways. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We've heard from our guest Njosh there. Njosh, as he said, is a consultant, but he also learns businesses, and I think mostly they are to do with the diaspora. So we're gonna ask maybe him to explain to us, or maybe describe to us the different sort of businesses he deals with, how maybe people can reach to him, the challenges maybe of learning business, as well as maybe doing his consultation or consultant, and then maybe there's someone there, maybe what he's doing maybe you don't even know, but it's something maybe you might need. So let's hear maybe what sort of business you do, the challenges of maybe learning, getting to your clients, maybe advertising those businesses, and how people even can reach you out, maybe the people from diaspora maybe who would want maybe to get into buying whatever you sell or you do.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
So after 7.5 years of serving in the military, I had completed my studies up to a master's degree. I studied a master's in international communication and political affairs. And then I decided that I wanted to leave the military. I started my journey of leaving the military back in 2006. That's when I started to plan the exit.
Okay.
But
Yes.
I didn't actually leave until 2011. So there was a lot of time to kind of plan it. But also that was the time when I was taking a career break for 1 year to go and finish my master's degree. So I did take the offer about taking a career break, by the way. Many years later, I still had that option somewhere in my pocket, and I used it in 2008 towards the end, and then until 2009 when I finished. So I left the military, and again, this is a very difficult transition for a lot of people who are in the military. It's not easy at all, and a lot of people who are out there serving in the military today will tell you it is not easy, and this applies both to the black who are in the military, as well as equally the indigenous British white who are in the military. They all go through a very difficult transition, because life in the military is a way of life, and then shifting from that way of life into a civilian way of living has its own challenges, significant challenges in some cases, and there are cases where people who are leaving the military end up living in the streets, simply because of that shift and not being able to manage that shift properly. But that's a conversation for another day. So when I finished with the military, I joined IT, because I had studied IT in Strathmore. I had been running my own little websites while I was still in the military. I was helping small businesses with applications, invoicing applications. I still do to this day. And I started a business as I was leaving the military. I started a business in money transfer. I was the first person that actually ever sent an M-Pesa transaction.
From UK,
from UK to Kenya.
Okay, there you have it.
And